Stop ruining the things I love! Indiana Jones
And the Temple of Doom?
It is without question the scariest action-adventure film ever made, and it is thanks to films like this and Poltergeist that we have a PG-13 rating because Steven Spielberg is a fucking madman and likes scaring the piss out of pint-sized humans. In the film, famed archaeologist Indiana Jones... Famed? Are we saying famed?
Like, why? Why is he famous?
How come everyone knows who this guy is? They had no internet, no social media, and it legit took months for news to travel around the globe.
Were archaeologists just the who's who of the 1930s?
How many graves has this guy robbed? How many Europeans with a taste for rare antiquities has this guy fucked over? How many loose women's lives has this rat bastard ruined? Famed archaeologist Indiana Jones and his pals seek to recover a sacred artifact from a diabolical villain looking to bring the world to its knees. Blah, 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 blah. You've seen it all before. And after again. And you know what? Probably after once more as well. To your very good health. This picture is a wet dream of an 80s action flick. Moving from set piece to set piece with such ferocity that it's almost as if the filmmakers are daring the viewer to keep up. Examples include, but are not limited to, the opening club shootout, the raft jump down the mountainside, the fight scenes in the bedroom, the temple and the mine shaft, the flood in the cavern, and the rope bridge finale. But the minecart chase sequence in particular is a prime example of movie-making magic at its peak. Utilizing not only live-action footage, but matte paintings, picture-in-picture photography, and miniatures to create a fully immersive experience. It's scenes like this that are not only a showcase for Spielberg's imagination and skills as a filmmaker, but the people he surrounds himself with as well, crafting a masterful sequence that would lay the groundwork for films like Jurassic Park, where he would again use every technique in the book to immerse us in his imagination. Of course, no action flick is complete without its action hero, and if action hero had a name, it would be Indiana motherfucking goddamn Jones! Harrison Ford is on another fucking level in this picture. The man oozes pure, raw, sexual energy in every scene. It goes from the John McClane style of everyman action hero that he played in Raiders to a full-blown Rambo, complete with sweaty, shredded abs and sweaty, shredded shirts in this sequel or prequel or whatever the fuck it is. And now it's time to talk about snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? I know it's been said to death, but this flick is pretty fucking dark, and that's coming from a horror fan. I think Molar Ram as a villain is pretty fucking rad, but when it comes to his demise, it just doesn't hold a candle to what happens to the baddies in Raiders. And on a more personal level, the death of Donovan in The Last Crusade. I saw that shit when I was 5, and it fucked my brain up for life.
Just start by telling me when you became aware of your own mortality.
I mean, I don't know. It's probably sometime when I was like a youngster or something. Mighty fucking convenient that Molar Ram didn't rip out Willie's heart like he did the poor son of a bitch who went through the exact same ritual like 10 minutes before. Even more mightily convenient is how she managed to not go bursting into a blaze of fiery fucking death like the poor son of a bitch who went through the exact same ritual like 10 minutes before. Even most mightiest convenient is how she went on to marry the director of the fucking picture and never had to work another day in her life, which unfortunately the poor son of a bitch who went through the exact same ritual like 10 minutes before never got the opportunity to do because he had his fucking heart ripped out, then burst into a blaze of fiery fucking death. You know that whole bit where Indy runs into the two swordsmen and then reaches for his gun, but it's not there because his whole plan was to shoot the two guys like he did the swordsman in the original picture that technically happens after this flick? Yeah, that gag is a reference to something that has not happened yet in this timeline. It is a thing that so glaringly breaks the fourth wall so the filmmakers can wink at the audience and go,
Hey, you remember the thing? You remember the thing? You remember the thing that made you laugh in the other one? You remember? You remember the thing?
it's cheap, and it's stupid, and it fucking bothers me. This has not aged well. Go ahead and give me that rewatch. Out of the original trilogy, this is my least rewatched flick. I just don't have as much fun watching this one, and I could not tell you why exactly. By my taste in film alone, this should be my favorite. Maybe it's the fact that those ritual scenes take place back to back, so it feels like I'm watching the scene over again. Maybe it's the fact that Indy gets possessed and hits a kid. Maybe it's all the child slavery. Maybe it's the fact that I've been told all my life that the other two were better, so when I finally got to watch this film as an adult, it tainted my view of the picture. I know now that for kids who grew up in the 80s, this is their preferred indie flick. So I'm gonna throw in an extra point just for them. Out of the original 3 films, this one just feels the most lackluster to me. Because the stakes are not nearly as high as they are in Raiders. You have the quest for the Ark of the Covenant, one of the most sought after objects in human history to this day. And because if it falls into the hands of the Nazis, the fate of the world is at stake. And in The Last Crusade, while the search for the Holy Grail is the catalyst for the adventure, at the end of the day, that story is about reconnection between a father and a son. Temple of Doom, however, is simply an outlandish, nightmarish fantasy thrill ride about acquiring a couple of rocks and freeing a bunch of kids from slavery. Well, that about wraps up this episode of the Jony Horror Reviews. I'm your host, Jony Horror, telling all you emperors and empresses with your creepy little voodoo dolls to be good to one another, be half-decent human beings, and never forget, at Club Jony Horror, anything goes.